sinners and saints.
What the hell? Jesus, I'm soaking wet. What the fuck? Somebody give me a towel. God, I'm soaked.
We need to try again.
Sinners and saints. Dust off those horns and halos. It's time for Alan After Dark.
Hello, sinners and saints, bitches, whores, sluts, skanks, pole smokers, ass munchers. How we doing? How we feeling? I myself am a little bit wet. That's what I get for not being careful with my glass of whatever that was. Jesus. Going hot and cold like that. That might explain the reason my voice sounds like this. But I've got to say, though, that I am a basket case right now. I just finished watching Heartstopper Forever, the finale for the Heartstopper series, and it's just tore me up inside.
I'm not crying, you're crying.
I don't know what to do with my feelings right now. I will probably express them at happy hour in some certain way, but my God, Kit Connor, is that not one delicious young man? Damn, I sounded like a fucking stalker, didn't I, the way I just said that. Lord have mercy. But he is a right beautiful man, that's for sure. I foresee a long movie career in his future, along with Joe Locke. I think they both have a long, successful future in film and television, no doubt about it. But happy weekend to everybody who celebrates. I celebrate too. I'm glad you're keeping me company for a little while today. And, you know, I got into another quote-unquote heated discussion with another right-winger homo that really did piss me off. And yes, I said right-winger homo. Come and get me. He was, once again, trying to use talking points from the Republican Party to slam transgender people, specifically regarding the bathroom bills. And I just finally had enough of him. And I said, here's what's puzzling to me, considering who you are and considering the party altogether. You all claim that there are men who will use transgender laws to justify dressing up as a woman or even claim that they self-identify as a woman and going into a women's restroom for the sole purpose of molesting young girls. That's your argument. Do you all ever realize that when you say that, your problem is with men who are not transgender that are using this as a reason to go into women's restrooms? You're blaming the wrong people. It's not transgender people that are going into the bathroom to molest little girls. It's, for lack of a better description, heterosexual men that you're talking about. So why aren't you all focusing your anger at the men who would exploit a law meant to protect people for the purpose of harming young children? Be mad at the men who aren't transgender.
Yeah, boy.
You need to keep your mouth off of transgender people because your argument doesn't really include them. I have to say, he was actually speechless. I know that it seems like I've been talking a lot about trans rights lately, but it's because we're getting closer and closer to an election and they won't shut up about it. If we don't be as verbally loud back toward them, it's like the equivalent of letting them get away with it. We have to answer back every time we see or hear something like this. You have to. And until we drum it through their thick skulls, mentally speaking, I'm not referring to violence, they're going to keep doing it. We have to really fight back against these horrendous lies that Republicans are telling. So that's why you're going to hear me say more and more about it, especially when I'm experiencing these people. You know, it's so fascinating. I know those of you who know me think that how could anybody not know I'm gay? And that's all well and good. But believe it or not, though, in the world outside of our environment, our clubs and bars, people do make the assumption that I'm straight. And because of where we live, they make the assumption that I must be Republican. And boy, do I give them an earful. And you should see the look on their face when they come to realize that not only am I a liberal, but I'm a pole smoker too.
Yeehaw.
It's like when one of them will say something derogatory like, oh, you're woke. And I'm always replying, well, you damn skippy I am. I believe in equal rights for everybody. I believe people shouldn't be going to bed hungry. I don't believe we should have homeless people. I believe that people should have health care. If that's woke, so be it. And they just don't even know how to reply to that other than something about tax cuts. But I don't really want to talk about that. I am basking in the glow of Heartstopper, and I'm going to miss the actors, the characters, the show, even though I can go back and just rewatch the series and enjoy it over and over again. I think if you ask a lot of people who watch the show, especially us older folks, it does harken back to a time that we wish we had. It would have been so great to experience some of the positivity. Even though the show does start with a lot of bullying and anger, it evolves so beautifully into a real situation where you have gay characters who are having to deal with not only homophobia, but with life in general, with eating disorders, with body dysphoria, with the pressures of society and trying to get an education, with parents who are treating you unfairly, with the pressure of being in love with someone and keeping the relationship alive. Those things are parameters in our life that we have to deal with on top of everything in the world that everybody else deals with. And I know I've said that before, so I'm not going to say it again, but there you are. I guess you can tell that it's been a pretty frustrating week. And it does anger me that we have to fight back and respond so often. But I do feel like if we don't, it's like letting them get away with it. And I don't want that to happen. I wish I had a drink. Anybody got any vodka? My God, I know, you're going to swear I'm a drunk. That's probably what you think that incident at the beginning of this episode was about. No, I just accidentally dropped a glass of water. And it went everywhere, splashed all over me, broke my foot, it feels like. And I'm just really wet. But I wanted to talk to you guys, even though I am wet. And I guess we could say wet could be a sexual innuendo. But in this case, no, it's not. You know, over the years, we've had a lot of movies that are themed on gay issues, and sometimes they create a world that we all wish did existed. And if you guys remember the movie Big Eden, that was just an amazing film, not only because it was what we would all hope the world would be like, but it also had people that weren't drop dead gorgeous. They were average looking people, good-looking people, and not so attractive people. But could you imagine going to a small town in like Montana and the whole community knows you're gay and knows this other guy is in love with you and they do everything they can to bring you two together? It is such a wonderful situation that would be amazing to exist in. I'm so glad that we do have some movies that aren't so harsh and aren't showing the hard times that we go through on a daily basis. It's nice to really escape sometimes to a world that we all know really doesn't exist. It might exist in small bubbles in places where you have friends and family trying to bring two people together. But could you imagine an entire town that loves two guys so much that they want them to be together? Wouldn't it be great if that was the world we live in, not a world where every time you turn around, someone's trying to say you don't have the right to exist? The last time I checked, I don't think I ever asked permission to live my life. Have you guys? I don't need your permission, crazy fucks. Have you ever thought about someone just out of the blue that you haven't thought about in a long time? Someone from your past, maybe 10, 15, 20 plus years ago, and get the urge to, not in too much detail, but actually search for them, like do a Google search and just see what you can find about that person? How would you feel about that if you did discover things about them? I have done 2 searches for 2 men that I loved, and on one, I didn't find anything. And I was really disappointed in that. I really would love to see what he looks like, what he's doing these days. Is he still with the same girl that he was with back then? Even searching on social media, there's really rarely a unique name that when you search for a name, there's always like a dozen possibilities. And it can be quite frustrating, but maybe that's a sign, if there are such things as signs, that you just need to leave the past in the past. I need to take that advice because the second guy I did a search on, I did find something. And I just kind of like shrugged and felt a little bit of disappointment because he is a very talented man. He is a musician. He's a singer, songwriter, an actor, and he had recorded some clips for YouTube of him singing. And it's always a sad song. It's always about how hard his life has always been and how he has never been treated fairly in life. And when I'm hearing it, I'm like, wait a minute. When we were together, I was the one being treated unfairly. You were being worshipped like a god every damn day. But at the end of all that, you just have to let it go anyway. And that's what I did. And I'll never search for him again because I don't want to see anything else about him. I guess I was amazed that he looks the same as he did way back then. Just a little bit older, a little bit deeper laugh lines. But other than that, it's him. Crazy fucking bastard. I know. Let it go, let it go. Get rid of the bitterness. All it does is bring you down. It really does. I mean, everybody in my past that didn't try to destroy me or kill me or rob me blind, I do wish all of you out there, all the guys I've loved before, there's not that many, but, I wish you all the best. I hope you're living a happy life. I sometimes wonder if all of you are. I did have a boyfriend that sent me a friend request on Facebook a few years ago, and I did accept it, and he messaged me and he commented about how he liked my look now. We started chatting in Messenger, and then all of a sudden he was gone. No account, nothing. And I thought, you know what? He has a boyfriend or a husband, and he got busted because back when we were together, he basically said that there was no way that he could be monogamous. There was just no way. Well, he also would acknowledge back then that he probably needed a partner because he never had enough money just to survive. So I have to wonder, adding 1 + 1 and getting 17, I think maybe he thought that he could use social media to hook up with guys and his partner or boyfriend or husband would never find out about it. That's my suspicion. That's based on what I knew of him when we were together. And I didn't really think about him not being monogamous when we were together. I just guess in my mind he was, even though as I'm talking about it right now, I really do deep down know that he most likely wasn't. And boy, is that a kick in the balls. That fucking sucks, actually, sinners and saints. I've actually brought myself down. That's almost depressing. Ugh. I could go on living in the fairy tale memory that I have, that he was devoted to me, and even though he said he couldn't love me, that he really did, and it was just a Romeo and Juliet type thing, only that there was no murder-suicide at the end of it, thankfully. Jesus Christ, he isn't worth dying over. Oh, I got a lot of questions about something that I said kind of like in passing about Mr. Right walking in, and people were asking, well, you're aromantic. So what did you mean by Mr. Right? What do you think I meant? I'm aromantic, not asexual. Mr. Right in that situation was getting it on. It's about having sex. It's about sucking dick and tonguing and licking and jacking. That's what I was talking about. And when I think about it, there are people that we all know that are gender fluid. Well, why can't we be romantically and emotionally fluid, so to speak? I can't say that I will always be aromantic. Maybe there's someone who will come along at some point that will just take my breath away.
Yes.
No.
That would be great. At this point in my life, I don't foresee that happening. It would not be something I'm looking for. I wouldn't be the one actually pursuing it. I would be pursuing possibly a sexual encounter, but that's totally different in the context of what I'm talking about here. I just have to wonder sometimes how that really does work. Because, I guess most of us gay men, we have tried it with a girl, a woman, at some point in our lives. And some gay guys can have sex with a woman involved. I've told that story before. Go back and listen to some of the first episodes of the podcast and you'll hear those hilarious and disturbing stories about my encounter with a husband and wife. I've had a couple of encounters with husbands and wives, and it never really went well for the wives. I'll just put it that way. I can hear some of you saying, oh, so you could fall in love with somebody. And the answer is, of course, but there are different kinds of love as well. I love my friends, and I don't always treat them like I love them, but they know that I do. That's part of my personality too. I do have these great, big, thick walls around me. And I think that's where the aromantic part of my life comes from. I think that it's all about not wanting to put the effort and time into a romantic relationship. Love is hard, and love is a choice. You choose to love that person every day, even when there's sometimes that you don't. Sometimes you hate each other. That's just a given in being a human. You get on each other's nerves. You drive each other crazy, but the love still remains until you decide that you can't do it anymore. So that's what I mean by love is a choice. The feelings aren't a choice, but what you do with them is your choice. That sounded like something that a doctor on Oprah Winfrey would say, didn't it? I need to be careful, don't I? I am not a doctor. I'm not a psychiatrist. I'm not a psychologist. I've just lived a whole lot of years in this world, more than most of you have. So just remember that. And no, I'm not some wise man. I'm not some guru. I'm not some mystic elder or sage that can just provide you all this wisdom that will be perfect for your life, because no two lives are the same and no single answer would work for every situation, every relationship, any person. They've worked for me and I like sharing them, but it doesn't mean it would work for you. And that was a whole lot of rambling without me having a drink. Oh, Jesus, where's my shot? Shall we do one? Let's do one. Go grab you a shot. Are you ready? Here's to you, here's to me. Fuck you, fuck me with Jordan Brandt's dick. Oh, Jesus, oh, Jesus. And yes, did you not hear who I said? It wasn't Henry Cavill, was it? Gotcha. Well, I guess it's that time again, sinners and saints. It's time to say so long for one more week. I hope you've had a great time listening today, tonight, tomorrow, whenever it is. I certainly have, and I look forward to visiting with you all again next week. And until that time, remember, take life by the balls and be real. We'll see you soon.